Here he is. One of the biggest murders of the 20th century.
You're angry.
Per se.
You're bitter.
I'm not angry or bitter. I am merely stating fact. And you look into the suits in Youngstown.
Don't look. He is talking about lawsuits that were filed against him for malpractice after his release from prison. He was to die not long after that. He didn't enjoy that much freedom when he got to free, and he also trashed the hotel room.
One of our only guests to ever trash a hotel room that we had on the show, which was unfortunate, but I guess he felt like, you know.
He left you with a $700 bill, too, I think.
Which was a lot in Dayton.
Was a lot of money, and, you know, you can get a lot of rooms in those days for $700.
Another funny show, now this was not funny, but a funny show that we did to add a little levity to this. One of the funniest things and one of the biggest laughs, I think, Phil, I've ever heard, as hard as I've ever heard you laugh, because this just happened, it wasn't planned. Male strippers, and we taught the average Joe how to dance.
This is a cameraman. We pulled him off the camera. Teach him how to male strip. Sure.
And the Chippendales were, no, one of their instructors were teaching.
Watch this.
I want you to take your hands to your shirts and just rip them apart, okay? Like you mean business. Swing them over your head and throw them to some lucky person out in the audience, okay? Okay, now really go out there, okay? Are you ready? Music. Go for it. Go get him. Go get him. Take it off. 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 That's it. Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Rip those shirts. Rip them off. Right. That's it.
Yeah. See, that male strippers. I never would have thought of male strippers. Somebody said, "We'll do male strippers." I what? You know, where will we put the microphone? I didn't know what to do with male strippers. It was your idea.
It was a guy in Cincinnati started this whole thing, and I think he sells boats or something now in Ohio. Jeremiah Shaston from Cincinnati was the first male stripper that we know of.
We are in New York City, and yes, this is the wrap. This is our last program in a 29-year adventure that ought to happen to everybody. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, it's fun being out here in the audience, although it's a little sad knowing it's the last time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I love your hair. You'll stand. You wanted to say.
Should I stand? I don't know. Phil, I wanted to know, at what point in your broadcasting career did you decide this is what you really wanted to do?
It sort of was, it came to me. I was a reporter in Dayton, Ohio, and I was also doing a radio show. You know, back in the 60s, everybody was two-way radio. It had just been sort of discovered, and many, many radio stations around the nation were allowing people to call in. You could actually get on the air and fight City Hall, and they had me do that, and it was that show that alerted somebody to the fact that this might work on television, and here we are 29 years later, and our relationship is 29 years old. Yes?
I wanted to ask you, as the kind of proclaimed father of American talk television,
certainly, yes.
What hope do we have for the future?
What hope?
Given that we've kind of sunk to the lowest common denominator.
Well, do you want to talk about that, Patty? That sounds like a good question for you.
Oh, yes, I'd love to talk about that. I'm sitting here relaxing.
These talk shows, the world's going to hell, and talk shows in daytime are leading it there, and you're responsible for it.
No, I'm not responsible for them. If people didn't watch these shows, we wouldn't be doing them. And in fact, we probably have done less, and I don't want to make it sound like we're doing this, but we probably have done less than the trashy shows, but we have done them, like that infantilism.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that. And but that's what people watch now.
You know,
so I think it's changing. I hope it's changing.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, my roommate from Notre Dame, George O'Donnell. George, you're on. Go get him. Tell him everything he knows. Yeah.
I have to tell you, as your former roommate, how absolutely thrilled I was when you wore the dress.
Yeah, he didn't used to be this funny. Yes, ma'am, you wanted to say.
Would you run for President of the United States?
No, no. If not, thank you. You flatter me. I'll take a Sherman. We'll be back with more highlights as our show makes its way to the final. Ain't No More. Fat Lady's gonna sing very shortly. We'll be back in a moment. Years on the air, over 5,000 hours, and you don't know who the hell I am.
No.
I'm Phil Donahue.
No, you're not.
Well, here's a guest who never forgot my name. Roll a tape. I'll never forget this show.
No, but you are wonderful. I said it when we were off there, and I want to say you are loving and generous, and you like women, and it's a pleasure. And whoever is the woman in your life is very lucky.
Well, thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the woman in my life, Marlo Thomas.
Have anything to say except nobody does it better.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Boy, I'll tell you what. That's the shortest speech she ever made, I'll tell you. I want to just take a moment. Madeline Murray O'Hare was on our program so often, and we even in the early days featured her with the chaplain of Bourbon Street, who told her about Jesus, prayed that she'd come home to Jesus, and as far as we know, his prayers have yet to be answered. But I'm pleased to see him in our audience today, the Reverend Bob Harrington. Say hello to these folks, Bob. Reverend Harrington. Haven't changed a bit, young man. And we'll be back in just a moment. All right. Well, this is it, friends. As we look out over so many people who have been such a part of our lives, we, alas, must bring this to an end. And Patty, you've been at it now.
This has been 29 years. It's been a great run. It's been wonderful. And I want to thank 3 or 4 people. First of all, I want to thank Bob Hastings, my spouse type, who never goes on the air, says anything. He was my editor in Dayton, Ohio when I met him.
Yeah, and he's also opening the champagne.
That was for Bob. He's opening the champagne. Also, I want to thank Eric Weinberger, who's our assistant back here opening the champagne. Without him. Also Gloria Steinem, because she said some things early on that really made me sit up and take notice, and so I think I'm here today partially because of her, but mostly because of this man, and I want to thank you for the greatest run of my life. Thank you. Okay, and
let me just
thank the staff. Here, Phil, take this.
You must know how much I have been the beneficiary of the hard work of so many creative people throughout the 29 years. This is quite obviously a team sport, and we always felt we had the best team. I am especially indebted to the young men and women you see behind us. These are truly creative people who work very hard. Producing a television show is a job that will break your heart. The phone will ring at 3 in the morning, and the guest will say, "I ain't coming." So this is very, very hard work. It's been especially difficult for these folks because they wanted to do whatever they could to make our farewells. And we've had several of them now, 5 or 6, 7 shows that we've done looking down memory lane, and they did an outstanding job. I love you. I thank you. I'll never be able to pay you back.